we fixed what's called the income-driven repayment program. And here's how that works. If you have an undergraduate loan, after 20 years of straight paying, not missing paying the debt on a monthly basis, whatever's left of your loan is forgiven after 20 years. But because of administrative failures, some people who did pay their loans for 20 years or more did not get the debt relief they had earned. We fixed that and made sure borrowers got credit for every single payment they made.
President Biden canceled an additional $9 billion in student debt at the end of last week, primarily focused on Americans who had been paying for 20 years, as you heard him say, but red tape prevented them from previously being forgiven. So this increases the total amount of relief to $127 billion by the Biden administration, spanning across 3.6 million Americans. Now, this just comes 3 days after student loan repayments resumed, following a 3-year pause. And as someone who has to pay my student loans now, people are definitely feeling it. But we do have this from the whitehouse.gov. This was their announcement. President Biden announces an additional $9 billion in student debt relief for 125,000 Americans. So just a little bit more on who this impacts and who's gonna feel this relief. The move affects 125,000 people who qualify under existing programs, including for public service workers such as teachers and firefighters, and for people on permanent disability. With the additional $9 billion, the administration said it had managed to extend $127 billion in relief to nearly 3.6 million Americans. So this money is coming through what they were referring to as fixes in the education department, made to several debt relief programs, including the public service loan forgiveness program, divided into 3 groups. So $5 billion is going to go towards relief for 53,000 employees working in federal, state, and local government and other organizations that qualify. 2.8 billion is going to go to those who've been paying for over 20 years. And then the rest, the 1.2 is going to those of borrowers with disabilities. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is not the only effort by the administration to tackle student debt relief. New York Times reported that last month, the administration distributed $37 million to help more than 1,200 students who took on debt to take classes through the University of Phoenix, which the Federal Trade Commission said misled students with dishonest ads and promises of high-paying jobs. In August, the administration began enrollment for a new income-driven plan known as SAVE, which allowed about 30 million borrowers with federal undergraduate and graduate loans to recalculate their monthly payment after taking into account their income and family size. And Jake, this is really good. It's not enough. It's really good. I'm so happy for the individuals who are going to be impacted by this. This is going to lessen a huge burden that's been weighing them down for a lot of these people for many, many years. It's not enough. It's a good start, but this, the administration needs to have its sights set on erasing all student loan debt, in my opinion.
Yeah. So look, first of all, it's really good news, and so you could have both of those thoughts in your head at the same time. So let's give you proper context. First of all, 125,000 Americans helped is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of folks. And I tell you this all the time: if politicians deliver for you, you should deliver for them. And every time somebody writes in saying, "Hey, I got my student debt relieved," I say you should vote for Biden. Then he delivered for you, and so that's the way politics is supposed to work. And so, God bless this effort. I appreciate that those Americans got their debt relieved, and including the disabled and firefighters and teachers. So it's terrific. Okay, so now the context, and the context doesn't take away from the good news from today. But at the same time, the good news from today doesn't take away the context. And the context is, as we explained there, he helped 3.6 million people overall, not just 125,000. So that's good context. So a lot more people were helped in all the different programs he did to relieve student debt. Now, how many people in America have student debt? 43 million. So it is less than 10% of the people who have student debt. Now, is that 8% or so, whatever that number is, 9%, whatever it is that better than what Donald Trump would have given you? Of course. Is that better than what the Republicans would have given you? They hate the idea of giving you guys student debt relief. They think, well, are you guys millionaires? No. Are you going to contribute to my campaign? No. Then there's no chance we'll ever help you. So is there a difference between the Republican and Democratic parties? Definitely. Do we want the Democratic Party to do better? Definitely. Could we have done more than 8 to 9% of people? I think we could have. To be fair to Biden, he did try the larger program. The Supreme Court shot it down. By the way, another good reason to vote for Democrats, because the more conservatives there are on the Supreme Court, the more they're going to side with corporations, and the more they're going to side against the average American. So those are facts. Now, having said that, yes, I think that there are different ways that Joe Biden could have done more in this regard too. And he said that he would do bigger student debt relief. And to be fair, this is a rare situation where he actually tried. In a lot of other places like the public option, and I can give it dozens of other examples, he didn't even try. But on this one, he did. He got some relief and good, important relief. And then there's still over 90% of Americans that have that student debt. And we need a fighter who's not going to just try, but he's going to move everything in his path to get this done. But I don't want to take away from the good news. So especially for you 125,000 Americans today and the 3.6 million overall, you elected Joe Biden and he fought for you and he got your results. And that's a hell of a lot better than what a Republican would have done.
I will say credit to Biden for doing a lot in the way of forgiving the student debt of individuals who've been taken advantage of by predatory for-profit universities. I mean, we mentioned the lies being spread by University of Phoenix. I see a lot of people mentioning in the chat right now, ITT Tech, a lot of those institutions that were meant to prey upon people and take them out for huge sums of money. Biden has been forgiving that debt and holding those institutions accountable. Makes me think of Trump University just as one. So yeah, I think that you raise a good point. The idea that a lot of people say there's no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. This is a massive difference. We didn't see this under Trump. We won't see it if Trump were to be reelected. I don't think any Republican president would be providing, student loan relief in any form. So definitely good news. Don't want to diminish that.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below, because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.